Hey guys, quick pre-market check-in here. If you attended the live stream this morning, first off, thanks for joining. Second, if you didn't, wanted to cover the same bases here. You can see that we actually have faded a bit from that overnight high while I was on stream and we were up there. I looked at kind of this as the upper range, I guess I would say. If we could hold that and maybe dip and reclaim, I'd be looking at like this 7205, 7200, hard to tell with ES, 7165 SPX, and then 7175, the big strike within that range where there's a lot of fuel, a lot of negative gamma to get up through. The problem with that is now that we fade down here and we kind of enter this block, I would consider this kind of a supportive type zone here from yesterday's high down to kind of where we ended up closing at 7110, and then this thinner block down below there. It's largely positive under 7080, so your real risk zone is 7110 to 7080, and there kind of same thing as yesterday's lows. If we actually sell from the open, you could kind of look for like a dip down in here to buy back up to test the overnight high. The odds of really getting that juice higher over 7150 to test 7165, 7175 on SPX are really limited depending on how this open goes. It is fuel, right? We can really quickly accelerate through this zone. The issue is more in the passive sense of what happens if you're not up there. And we started talking about some things I covered yesterday with regards to like shape. And how that ends up looking with regards to like the shape of decay, meaning if you're not over 65, then 75 and everything above it starts compelling you down, and you have to find a balance. And honestly, this balance is very small. These are very small positions relative to everything else that's on the table. You'll see these are quite tiny, but in total, assuming spot stays over 80, you've got a really strong structural support down here. But on a sell with some additional volatility under 7110, if you can't hold yesterday's close, I'd be looking for opportunities to short under there, maybe down deeper. Obviously, the open is going to go a long way to saying just how much we can maybe get up in here. Coming into the day, I was quite bullish because of looking at this as ammo, but you have to understand, as quick as you move up into that, just as quick you can reject right back down through it in a zone such as that. I do think it'll be interesting to see where we get the opening print, if we can spike down in to kind of hold this 25-20 area, or if that kind of leads to some additional volatility and down we go. Having consolidation in this upper bound is not the most surprising thing if it happens. I was as bullish as anybody coming in on this overnight action. But I really think the majority of where the juice is to squeeze is probably going to be over 45. If we can get some real strong market bidding, you can really accelerate up into this range. 75 is going to be a big test, though. That's a lot of positions, and everybody and their mom is long there from the customer perspective. So head on a swivel, like I said, upper range 45 probably to 85. More realistically, 65, 75 are your key trim targets if you're long. If you're short, I think you'd have to see some like real strong volatility selling under 7110 to get you under 7100 down into this zone. And I don't know that necessarily speaks too much to me. I have a really hard time saying that that's something I endorse, but just given yesterday's action and kind of how well we held down there, I think that same thesis is in place. I think there's buyable dips today and a lot of fuel for the fire higher if the market's strong. So keep an eye on that. I think Trump is speaking this morning, so assuming he's trying not to completely demolish peace talks, it's hard for me not to lean longer on any dips. So good luck. I'll have some intraday updates as they come along, but the pre-market profile kind of shows where the opportunity is and where the risk is. I think any risk for selling is kind of more in the passive sense. Where do we find a balance? Do we finish the day unchanged or something from yesterday after attempts higher that fail, or do we actually get up and stuck into that upper range? So good luck today, and keep an eye out for some updates.